Just do it!
Hey, welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Adam.
And I'm John.
And we're still a few months away from the release of the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, which is Nintendo's latest mini retro console that everyone wants, but 2 people will be able to get.
And not to look too far ahead, but what's next for Nintendo? If it wants to continue going down this classic gaming route?
What is next?
Well, the next obvious choice would be Nintendo's foray into 3D gaming.
A foray?
Is that how you say that word?
Let us all have a foray.
Is that the foray into 3D gaming, the N64 or the Nintendo 64 gaming platform? And for the sake of this video, let's ask the question, if Nintendo makes a Nintendo 64 Classic, what games do you want on it?
Start off, let's talk about the first party games that would be easy for Nintendo to put on the system, since they wouldn't have to deal with any licensing issues.
Right, first party is where you get a lot of the good stuff. I think it's why, like Turtles in Time, not on the SNES Classic Edition.
Such a good game.
Right, but they gotta lean on first party as much as they can because, again, Turtles in Time is third party and licensed. Lots of issues there. But the big one, obviously, we're gonna get Mario. I mean, Nintendo has a lot of all-time greats. Mario 64, one of the best, right?
Does anybody actually enjoy playing Mario 64 though?
Oh, dude, there's still people that play. There's still speedruns though.
It's huge for speedrunning.
That game still, even outside of like super games or summer games done quick, it's still a really popular speedrunning game.
Really? I think probably some of my negativity comes from the fact that I think I have played the first 15 to 20% of that game like 10 times.
Why?
I don't know. I don't finish it every single time I ever played it, and so like.
That's definitely a kid thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you get to a part, it's either a little too hard, a little too scary, and then you restart.
Or you lose all your lives, and there you are.
Mario got scary for me.
But no, there's a lot of really good gameplay in that one. Also,
Smash Brothers.
Well, now
it's
just getting weird. But while we're on the subject of Mario, what about Mario Kart?
Yeah, the Mario 64.
Mario Kart 64 was fantastic.
It was before you had to be good drifting.
I don't know if I need to play that again.
Well, do you have to play any of these games again?
No one has to.
Nah, you know.
Are we getting into that kind of philosophical discussion?
I feel like Mario is a platformer, still has some redeeming qualities to go back to, but I feel like the N64 Mario Kart, like I feel like they've iterated so perfectly on it, like in the future, that game maybe isn't worth playing back to.
You think you might go back to it and that one might be a little bit more dated? I can see that, I guess. So what about Yoshi's Story? That'd be a great one.
What about Yoshi's Story?
I care about that game.
Yeah, I didn't really care for Yoshi's Story.
I'd love to see it on there.
Okay.
So we got Mario, we got a couple of those covered. Then Zelda.
Both.
So while the Nintendo 64 wasn't quite the RPG haven that the SNES was, it did have what a lot of people consider to be 2 of the greatest Zelda games of all time. Well, okay, possibly 2 of the best games of all time, period. So obviously, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, both of which are now on 3DS, but it'd be great to have them on console.
I actually think, in hindsight, I remember enjoying Majora's Mask more than Ocarina.
I think some people's major opposition to that game was that they added this sort of, not artificial timer, but this timer that sort of made the game feel like you're more under like a time crunch or pressure. And like, I know I don't like that. Like I like just being able to have my luxurious exploration. Like as long as I want to, I don't want to have to rush. And I think that's part of the problem for some people. I don't know. I would still like to see it again because I'd love to play as an adult.
Masks.
Dude, transforming into people's fucking cool, man.
That was cool.
That's still a thing like they're doing with Mario, they do with Kirby. Like that's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it was like Zelda Kirby is what it was, and I like that.
I think if they went for one, they would go with Ocarina.
I think they would go with Ocarina.
What if they
could
just
do
put
one.
Majora's on there?
People would be so fucking pissed.
Hey, do that.
They would do that, and then they would release it on Virtual Console for Switch with Ocarina.
But Nintendo 64 isn't just about Mario and Zelda, though. There are a lot of other characters, and a lot of them are characters that we haven't had nearly a time with since then. 2 of them being Star Fox and Donkey Kong, so beyond the Mario and Zelda staples. Honestly, some of these great characters: Star Fox 64, Donkey Kong 64, Diddy Kong Racing, which oddly enough is actually really huge in the speedrunning community.
DK64.
I had DK64.
It's my favorite game of that generation.
I had the green
the
see-through
special
one.
console.
Yeah. I love that game with all of my heart. I would love to play that game again. I am dying to play that game again.
I would play that too.
I'm dying to. I still have it on my N64. If I go and get a composite to HDMI or something, I could probably do that, but I'm dying to play that fucking game again.
Do you think Diddy Kong Racing and Mario Kart are... Do you think we can get both of them?
You probably won't get both of them, but you should, because actually Diddy Kong Racing was actually superior to Mario Kart in some ways.
A lot of people say that.
I played a lot more Diddy Kong than Mario Kart, and I had both.
Maybe Diddy Kong is a good one to have because you haven't had it iterated on so many times.
Yeah, there's also not that much exposure for Diddy Kong Racing. That game was definitely shadowed a lot by Mario Kart. But also, Donkey Kong has not gotten shit for games since the 64. They got Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Donkey Kong Country something.
He's got that bongo one.
The bongo game. But then Star Fox had Star Fox Adventures. They had Star Fox. They had Star Fox for, was it GameCube? They had a Star Fox that came out on the Wii U. Star Fox has had its fucking time in the sun. It's also getting Star Fox 2 on the SNES Classic. I want more Donkey Kong shit, goddammit. I need an N64.
So you're fighting for Diddy Kong Racing.
DK64, please.
Make it happen.
I need it.
Those aren't the only racing games. I mean, honestly, for its time, Nintendo 64 had a lot of other good racing games. So while they might not look amazing by today's standards, there was Wave Race 64, F-Zero.
For some reason, I had Wave Race 64. I don't remember buying it.
People love that game. I love
played
that game.
I played it a lot. Maybe my DK64 came with Donkey Kong and Wave Race.
Well, regardless, I'm actually in the F-Zero camp.
Yeah.
There are some F-Zero-like racing experiences out there now, but I just kind of want a Captain Falcon. They're so good.
Yeah.
Also, can we, honorary mention, would you consider Pilot Wings a racing game? I don't know where else to put it categorically.
It's traveling.
It's a picture-taking game.
Would you consider...
It's in the same category as Pokemon Snap.
would you consider 1080 a racing game? Because that was a huge...
So it's more...
Yes.
So it's sports.
That was
sports.
That was a huge racing.
Sportsy
That was a huge...
racing.
It was a huge game for the 64.
I play 1080.
That I would love to have back. That game was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Pilot Wings is a sport. I don't know what sport is, but it's a sport.
Yeah, it's a sport. Also, if we're going to do a bunch of games for the Nintendo 64, we kind of have to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that separates the Nintendo 64 from a lot of Nintendo's former systems, besides the whole jump to 3D, which is obviously a major thing, was that it was the first console post-Pokemon. And Pokemon, so Red and Blue started the whole sensation in 1996. Then Nintendo capitalized on it with a bunch of spin-off titles for the Nintendo 64 console, specifically Pokemon Stadium and our other picture-taking genre game, Pokemon Snap.
Would you rather Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium?
Snap.
I feel like a lot of people are in the Snap camp, but I think I was more fond of Pokemon Stadium at the time.
Stadium was fun because it was the first time you ever got to see the Pokemon in a 3D environment, actually animating and stuff. So that was cool. It didn't have a lot of long playability where I was like, let's play Pokemon Stadium again.
Yeah. No,
so it was like a good rental maybe, but
yes.
You don't have to play it over and over.
Snap was had some more fun mechanics about it, and I liked Snap better.
There were a bunch of other first-party games too. It's not all Pokemons and Marios. Nintendo also released Kirby 64.
That's a good
the Kirby
game.
64 game, and honestly, the Nintendo 64 was a launching point for two other big Mario spin-off series. Paper Mario, which is a must-have, right? No?
I wasn't happy with Paper Mario.
Wow, you're a monster.
Because didn't they market it as the sequel to Super Mario RPG?
I didn't really pay attention to the marketing.
I didn't like Paper Mario.
I just liked the aesthetic. I thought it was really cute. But also, potentially more importantly, Mario Party.
Now, Mario Party I played.
It's been a while since we got one of those as well. So I could potentially see some of the originals because they changed the mechanics every time.
They did.
It could be cool to get a kind of stripped back original version of that.
Yeah. Mario Party I think is less of an important one to put on it because there have been so many Mario Parties that it's like there's Mario Party 10, or at least 9 I know. And so it's not been very long, whereas we haven't played I don't I guess there's been Kirby games, stuff like that, but
there has been, yeah.
But Mario Party hasn't changed a ton, but it's been kept being brought out
Mario
over and over
Tennis
again.
I loved Mario Tennis. I don't know, did you guys play Mario Tennis?
Yeah, lots.
Love Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis.
Everyone loves
and
Mario
golf.
Tennis. Mind you, there's a bunch of third-party and licensed stuff as well, because beyond Nintendo's first-party outings, there was a bunch of really, honestly cool, memorable classics for the Nintendo 64 that these are the ones that are going to be a little bit more difficult for Nintendo to procure for a potential Nintendo 64 classic, but they're worth noting because Nintendo has been able to have a few good third-party games for the previously released classics, or previously released and now announced. They had Mega Man, Contra, for instance, so these are on the wish list, probably not as likely. But first off, as we get into the licensed games, no one made better third-party games for Nintendo 64 than Rare.
Yeah.
And this will be tough considering that they're now a Microsoft studio. But GoldenEye and Perfect Dark are considered all-time classics. And frankly, the Perfect Dark for Xbox 360, nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie, Blast Corps, Jet Force Gemini, they're all considered must-owns for the console. Or would like to own for the console, unless you are rolling in the dough. But with Rare, I don't know. With them being owned by Microsoft, those might all be a tough job to get.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those on the list that people would expect to be on it. But yeah, with that sort of relationship, it's going to be costly.
I would say GoldenEye was probably, other than Mario and Zelda, was probably the biggest game on the 64.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the ones that everyone holds up as a real standard for multiplayer.
But that game does not hold up.
No, it's terrible.
The controls are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go back to it.
It's one of the big challenges for the Nintendo 64 Classic, assuming they do one, in any case, would be the controller.
Yeah.
It was a weird controller. It's
got
great,
used to
but
it.
super weird.
Kind of. It was all you had at the time.
It was made for someone with 3 arms, is what it was.
Did you guys play Blast Corps?
No.
That was a weird fucking game.
I think I played it at a cousin's house.
That game was like
but
a
I never
bunch of.
had that one.
It was like a bunch of different kinds of games all in one. It's like a bunch of you had like mech levels and other just weird destruction stuff. Jet Force Gemini was a good game. Conker's was already remade, so I'm okay
You're
with
okay
no
with not having
Conker.
that one?
Yeah, they had Live and Reloaded on the Xbox original.
There were also actually a bunch of Star Wars stuff on the Nintendo 64.
They were good Star Wars stuff.
Okay, which admittedly probably as far-fetched as Rare getting their games on Nintendo 64 Classic, but maybe slightly less far-fetched since the rights do belong to another big publisher rather than another platform holder like Microsoft with Rare. There were some really cool entries.
Rogue Squadron was a great game. I would rather have that game re-released on PC.
Oh yeah.
Because I played it with a joystick. I played it on PC growing up with a force feedback joystick, so playing that on a N64 probably wouldn't be a good
But
way
it
to
still
go
was
back.
a good game on there.
Dude, so good.
So Star Wars Rogue Squadron and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
I played some of that, but not a ton. I remember Rogue
Shadows
Squadron.
of the Empire was the one like where you played as various different characters. Like one of the levels you played as Han Solo, and
Yeah. So
cool
that one
game.
was, maybe not one of the standout titles, but Rogue Squadron. If we can have one Star Wars game, it would be Rogue Squadron.
That was a really good one.
I remember people really liking Shadows of the Empire. Like I remember playing that at a friend's house and it being like, that was like one of those like weird games that wasn't meant to be scary, but as a kid for some reason it was.
It was
I don't
intense.
know, maybe I'm just a wuss.
It was intense.
Yeah.
You probably were a wuss.
Yeah.
And while the Nintendo 64 wasn't really known as a third-party machine beyond the rares and stuff like that, there were actually some really good bright spots. The console got Bomberman 64, which was a ton of fun to play. Don't judge Bomberman by the Switch release.
No.
There's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the Mortal Kombat trilogy. There was Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Love Turok.
And there was also a very fun wrestling game. It was WrestleMania 2000.
Loved it.
Yes.
You played that?
Yes, I did.
So good.
Dude, as I'm remembering all these, that system had, I know people like rag on the system a lot, but I think the system had some fucking good games for the time. They probably
Yeah.
don't hold
Great
up
system.
that much.
No one rags on Nintendo 64. GameCube maybe. But the Nintendo 64, the most we have to make fun of is the Rumble packs and
Expansion packs.
and the controller.
A lot of people rag on the nostalgia of Nintendo 64. That they rag on people for holding up Nintendo 64 as being so cool, and that they think it's mostly just your nostalgia remembering it. I think they actually made some good
There's
games.
some good games. That list is great.
Yeah. So I mean,
Tony Hawk Pro Skater, come on. The
Right.
game's amazing.
honestly, there are a lot of games from Nintendo 64 I would like to see. So, Bomberman 64, obviously, Harvest Moon 64, Tetrasphere, already mentioned Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Rayman 2, Great Escape.
Mortal Kombat was big. I remember playing that a lot as a kid on the N64.
All right, so that about does it for our big wish list of games that we want to see on a potential Nintendo 64 Classic
Shout out to Clay Fighter as well.
and Clay Fighter.
Oh yeah.
There's probably a lot of those.
So many-
There's probably a lot of those
So
in the
many
back of your
games
mind
we
you don't
probably
remember
left
about.
off.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that game was bizarre. The snowman and the like the weird just the goo guy. Oh
Terrible
man.
game though.
So, which of your favorite games did we leave off the list? What of them deserve a spot? What is it that you need to see on a Nintendo 64 Classic? Or are you just going to go hook up the original one? Let us know in the comments. And for future gaming discussions about all kinds of issues, like the very important industry-defining stuff like what do we want on a Nintendo 64
very
Classic?
important.
Yeah. Make sure you like this video. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to the know.
Bye.
Is there a new Shanghai
What's
movie?
the new old Jackie Chan movie?
The Shanghai Nights?
No, what? The new one that just had. You're just naming all of Jackie Chan movies.
Yes, that is exactly what's happening.
I fucking hate you. Nope. Shut up.